Welcome to the Faith and More podcast. This is a trans-denominational podcast for everyone of all faiths or no faiths. Everyone is welcome and everyone is safe. Hello, my name is Reverend Angel Wise, and I'll be your host. I am an ordained trans-denominational minister, intuitive healer, Kabbalist, and life coach. I firmly believe that divine works through people every day to help us. These angels and saints are so very humble, many of us don't know they exist or existed. Each week we'll explore the lives of these amazing beings. We will also explore topics that can help your faith, no matter what it is or isn't. The goal of this show is to inspire, encourage, educate, uplift, strengthen, and heal you and your faith. So be sure to follow and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Enjoy the show.
The views and opinions expressed are purely that of the host, who greatly urges everyone to explore the discussed topics more on your own. Listening discretion is advised.
This program is being monitored by Spirit for quality purposes.
Hello and welcome to the show, everyone. How are you all doing? I mean, everyone. How is everyone doing? I so hope and pray you all are well and blessed. And if you're not, I so hope and pray that you are able to see the blessings and the suffering. And we just did a show on that last week. And let me know how that's working for you. I would be elated to hear any feedback on how any of these shows help you, or if you have any suggestions. My contact information is at the end of the show, at the end of every show. If you're new to the show, speaking of show, welcome. I am so happy you found us. It is my deepest hope and sincerest prayer that you find everything that you're searching for in a podcast, especially a faith-based podcast here and more. And if you're returning, infinite thanks, blessings, and love for being a long-time lover and supporter of the show. It is because of you that this show is here. So I am so happy to be able to share another one of my most favorite teachers, and this is a Zen teacher. We've had a couple Zen teachers in the past. We had Thich Nhat Hanh, season 1, episode 7. We had Isan Dorsey, season 2, episode 13. And we talked a little bit about Zen with the Thomas Merton episode in season 1, episode 15. And Thomas Merton was a big component in Buddhism and Zen Buddhism coming to the United States. So we're going to be talking about one of the major powerhouses that was here in the States that really put the foundation, such an adamantium, rock solid, granite solid foundation for Buddhism in the United States. And his name was Shunryu Suzuki Roshi. And this article is titled The Zen Universe, and I will, as always, have links to this in the show notes, as well as everything else that we discuss and share. And so what I'll do is I'm going to do like we normally do. I'll read his bio, and then I will share some of his teachings and then expand on them in my ignorance as best as I possibly can. But again, just a note of a disclaimer. Everyone perceives the teachings in a different way according to what information that they're ready to receive, all based on how much light are you open to receiving. That's what you get from these teachings and any and all teachings. So on the 18th of May, 1904, the year of the dragon and the 37th year in the reign of Emperor Meiji, Shunryu Suzuki is born in Shogunji Temple. Shunryu Suzuki was born to Toshitaka Suzuki in a small village near Hiratsuka in Kanagawa Prefecture. His father, Sagoku Suzuki, was head abbot of the temple. His mother was the daughter of a Zen priest. At birth, he is given the Buddhist name Shunryu, which means excellent emergence, by his father. Wow. Talk about the ultimate DNA to come from. His mother is, the daughter of a high-ranking Zen priest, and here his father is a head abbot at a temple. It's incredible. In 1916, Suzuki started to train with a former disciple of his father, Gyokujin Soan Suzuki. Soan was Sogoku's adopted son and abbot of Sogoku's former temple, Zoun-in. After 1 year, he is ordained as a novice monk by Gyokuchin Soan and is given his second Buddhist name, Shogoku, which means auspicious peak. But he also, when they say he, they're referring to Shunryu Suzuki Roshi. But he also received a nickname from Soan, Crooked Cucumber, because of his forgetful and unpredictable nature. In 1918, Soan was made head of a second temple called Rinso-in. Shunryu followed him there. During the next years, Soan sent him to train with Rinzai master. There, Shunryu studied a very different kind of Zen, one that promoted the attainment of Satori through the concentration on koans through Zazen. And Satori is another name for enlightenment or awakening, or becoming whole or one with the Creator. In 1919, he went back to his parents' house and entered the middle school. In 1924, Shunryu enrolled in a Soto preparatory school in Tokyo. From 1925 to 1926, Suzuki did Zen training with Dojun Kato in Shizuoka at Kinko-in. He continued his schooling during this period. Here, Shunryu became head monk for a 100-day retreat, during which he has completed his training as a head monk. In 1930, he graduates from Kamazawa University, second in his class, with a major in Buddhist and Zen philosophy and a minor in English. Upon graduation, Soan wanted Shunryu to continue his training at the well-known Soto Zen Temple in Ahiji. In September of 1930, Suzuki entered the training temple and underwent the Zen initiation known as Tangaru or Tangaro-yo. Yeah, Tangaryo. You try it. In December, Suzuki sat his first true sesshin for 7 days. This concluded his first practice period in Ahiji. In September of 1931, after one more practice period and session at Ahiji, Soan arranged for Suzuki to train in Yokohama at Soji. Soji was the other main Soto temple of Japan. And again, Suzuki underwent the harsh Tangaro initiation. In 1932, Suzuki left Sojiji and moved back into Zoan-in. In 1932, he starts as a Zen teacher in Bansho Zenrin Kasuase Kukuroshi, Shizukoe Ken, part of responsibilities for Rinso-in, where he remains living. In 1942, he started as an official director or Zen teacher of Toki-in Temple, 10th highest monastery of the Soto sect. Formally becomes Roshi from ceremonial purposes. Suzuki Roshi was asked to go to America to assist Hodo Tobase at Sokoji. He declined, but in 1959, at the age of 55, he leaves for San Francisco. On May 23, 1959, Shunryu Suzuki, then age 55, came from Japan to San Francisco to serve as head priest of Sokoji, a Soto Zen temple then located at 1881 Bush Street in Japantown. He was joined by his wife Mitsu, also from Japan, in 1961. Sokoji, founded by Hosen Asobi in 1934, had been housed in a former Jewish synagogue that is now Kokoro Assisted Living. Upon Suzuki's arrival at Sokoji, the congregation was composed entirely of members of the Japanese American population. Unlike his predecessors, Suzuki was a fluent speaker of English who actually wanted to come to the United States. Suzuki's arrival came at the tail end of the Beat movement and just prior to social movements of the 1960s, both of which had major roots in San Francisco. Before long, Sokoji had non-Japanese Americans, mostly beatniks, coming to the temple to sit zazen, which is a type of meditation, with him in the morning. Soon, these Westerners participated in regular services, and new non-Asian students came to outnumber the Japanese American congregation. This change in demography caused a rift in the Sokoji community. The tension was alleviated when Suzuki's Western students began gathering for separate services, albeit still at Sokoji in 1961. Some of these students began calling their group City Center, and they incorporated it in 1962 as the San Francisco Zen Center. And that should sound familiar to you longtime listeners, because that is where Isan Dorsey was and where he became established in Zen. The number of practitioners at the San Francisco Zen Center grew rapidly in the mid-60s. Within a couple of years, Suzuki considered founding a monastery to host more intensive practice for those students who were interested. In 1966, Suzuki and Baker scouted Tasajara Hot Springs, located in Los Padres National Forest behind Big Sur, as a possible location for the envisioned monastic center. After a major fundraiser effort led by Baker, Zen Center purchased the land, which contained a rundown resort and mineral springs, in 1967. Tasajara Zen Mountain Center, which is also known as Zen Mind Temple, was the first Zen Buddhist monastery built in the United States and the first in the world to allow co-ed practice. So if I may, let me interject for just a moment, because back in this time period, Asians were coming to America, or were born in America, were having a very difficult time, especially post-World War II, because the Japanese during World War II that were American citizens were rounded up by American soldiers and our American government and placed in concentration camps. Yes, folks, we had concentration camps too. And these people were American citizens. But everybody was going nuts and thinking everybody that was Asian was a spy of some way, shape, or means. So as you could only suspect, the Asian communities are very jaded and very guarded. And for Shunryu to come over and just start teaching non-Japanese or non-Asian upset a lot of people, because they were like, number one, he doesn't know what we went through. And number two, this is our culture and our heritage that should be only passed down to our descendants and our people, you know. But Bruce Lee went through the same thing too. Season 3, episode 16, check that out, where he was teaching martial arts, which again, same principle, was a very sacred and cultural thing for the Asian people. And he was teaching non-Asians. He was teaching anybody that wanted to learn. And that caused a lot of issues and a lot of turmoil and a lot of fights, literally physical fights, between him and other teachers and schools, which they call dojos. But Shunryu went through a similar thing. You know, here people, you know, there was a schism, a split in his temple, that, you know, the Asians did not want the non-Asians to be in there at all or learning anything. So they took their leave. And so he ended up branching out and went to the Los Padres National Forest behind Big Sur and started the Tasajara Zen Mountain Center, which is still there today. And one of the awesome things I would interject, and then I'll get back to the article, is that there are a lot of amazing videos of Shunryu Suzuki Roshi teaching on YouTube. They're absolutely free, and I'll try to include links to a couple of those in the show description. I greatly urge you all, regardless of what your faith is to check these out, because there is wisdom and enlightening in everything he says. Just like with Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj and so many other amazing beings that we've shared their teachings here on the show. So in 1969, Great year, by the way. That's when I was born, and when Haven was born, and a lot of other great people. In 1969, Suzuki Roshi resigned his position as a priest at the Sokoji to focus on teaching Zen to Americans. He moved to a large residential building, which became known as the city center. Suzuki Roshi died of cancer on December 4th, 1971. He was 67 years young. Although he stayed in the United States for only 12 years, he had done a great work to establish Soto Zen in America. It is for sure that the success is due to his magnetic personality and to his style of teaching, which emphasized a simple practice of just sitting with a beginner's mind in daily living based on Zen principles. Shunryu Suzuki was one of the most influential spiritual teachers of the 20th century and is truly a founding father of Zen in America. In fact, Suzuki Roshi was one of the most influential Zen teachers of his time. His teachings flow from the Soto lineage of Zen Buddhism founded by Dogen Zenji, who lived from 1200 to 1253. We will be having a show on Dogen Zenji, which is another one of my all-time favorite teachers, in 13th century Japan. He was the founder of the San Francisco Zen Center and the Tasajara Zen Mountain Center. He is the author of Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind, Branching Streams Flow in the Darkness, Zen Talks on Zandokai, and he is the subject of the biography Crooked Cucumber by David Chadwick. Now, 40 years, well, actually 52 years after his death, Suzuki Roshi immediacy as a teacher continues in books, audio recordings, and the photographs, films, and letters that survive. Most of all, his teachings continue in the memories and teachings of those who studied with him. His students continue to teach at the Zen Center and in Dharma groups around the country. Today, there are over 60 Zen centers and groups in North America continuing the Shunryu Suzuki Roshi lineage of Soto Zen Buddhism. So that, my dear brothers and sisters, is the bio. And I always have such a great fondness and affinity for those who break down barriers, who are so inclusive and will teach and share their wisdom with anyone that's interested in it. And the world can learn so much from this. There's still so much segregation and prejudice in our world. And that's so hard to believe with this day and age of, computers and internet. And, you can talk to somebody on the other side of the world at just a touch of a key on a computer or a phone. It's just insane that with all of this technology, we still harbor these human Neanderthal feelings of me, mine, me, I, me, and mine, and you, as in everybody's separate from us. And, we try to be in little groups or tribes based on our culture, our conditioning, our surroundings, our environment, and it's just, again, this day and age, it's just totally ridiculous that we can't see the creator in literally everyone and everything. And, as technology advances, it seems like, humanity regresses. And that is just so tragic, but infinite blessings and love to people like Shunryu Suzuki Roshi, Bruce Lee, and so many others, the Dalai Lama, all of the Tibetan teachers and teachers all over, Jewish, Catholic, it doesn't matter who, that will teach anyone who wants to learn, anyone that has an open heart and that is sincere and really wants to learn, they will teach them. And we can learn so much from them. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go through some of these teachings of Shunryu Suzuki Roshi. And just like Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj a few weeks ago, these are just like little short clips because it's all it takes. This is all lightning in a bottle. So every one of these phrases or passages are meant to lightning strike you, wake you up to your connection with the Creator, and make that bond between you and the Creator so close you can't tell the difference between one and the other. And that goes for everything around you, as you will see the Creator in all things. That's what this whole thing of awakening or enlightenment is all about. So the first passage says, treat every moment as your last. It is not preparation for something else. Absolutely. And we see that, I always use Haley as an example, but to me, she is such a blessed, perfect example of someone who's treating every moment as her last, because it is. Every moment is her last moment. And the same applies to us, as I said a couple of weeks ago about the ticking of the clock. It goes for all of us. The whole Edgar Allan Poe, for whom the bell tolls. All of us are on limited time. We don't know. And, as I've said, I've been so blessed to have a second chance because, as of June 30th of 2020, that was supposed to be my end date or expiration date from this lifetime. But the Creator had other plans, and I'm still here, and I'm doing everything I can to make the very most of each and every moment. And it doesn't require us to go through some kind of trauma like that to wake up. It's right here, right now. The next is, if your mind is empty, it is always ready for anything. It is open to everything. In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities, but in the expert's mind, there are few. Okay, so let me unpack this for all of you. What he's saying about the mind being empty, that is a Buddhist term for awake. So if your mind is awake, meaning your heart is awake and you are aware that the Creator is literally everything, you and everything. There is nothing that is not from the Creator or is the Creator. That makes you ready for anything. It opens you up to everything in a way that you've never seen or experienced life, the world, those around you. I mean, it's endless. So he's saying in the beginner's mind, because he refers to that as a beginner's mind. Because when a baby's born, it's a clean slate. Everything's in awe and wonderment, in learning and experiencing and joy and love. And it's all about us getting back to that. So he says, in the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities. And I'll take that to infinite possibilities. When you are awake and aware that the Creator is everything and has made everything and sustains everything, even down to your next heartbeat that comes from the Creator, that next breath comes from the Creator, the blink of your eye comes from the Creator. Everything comes from the Creator. The flow of your blood, the electricity current in your body causing your heart to beat comes from the Creator. Once you awaken to that, it's just literally everything is mind-blowing. But the expert mind, there are few possibilities. And those who say that they know this and they know that, they adhere to that and they say, you need to believe my doctrine, believe my dogma, my this, my that, I, me, mine. And what I believe is it, and that's it, and there's nothing else, and you're wrong. Those people don't have many possibilities left because they are clinging and adhering to illusion. It's like trying to grab a hold of fog. You can't do it. But they believe they have. They not only have grabbed it, but they've mastered it. And there's an old saying that says, the more I learn, the less I know, or I realize the less I know. And that's it. I mean, the thing is again, as he said, go back to that empty mind, the beginner's mind, realizing that the Creator is everything. There's nothing that the Creator isn't. That's good times, that's bad times, it's in between times, that's everything. Everything. In this next passage, Roshi really drives it home. He says, wherever you are one with the clouds and one with the sun and the stars you see. You are one with everything. That is more true than I can say, and more true than you can hear. I'm going to read that one more time. Wherever you are one with the clouds and one with the sun and the stars you see. You are one with everything. That is more true than I can say, and more true than you can hear. Again, he's pointing as the same thing. Everything is the creator. Everything is not only created by the creator, but everything is the creator. And when we awaken to that, we realize we are one with the creator. One with the clouds, created by the creator. One with the sun, created by the creator. One with the stars, created by the creator. And this is more true than he can say, because words will only point. We've talked about this many times in past shows. There's only so far words can take us. When you get to this level of understanding, it comes down to feeling, experiencing. It's beyond words. All you can do is point to it. And he says it's more true than you can hear. Because as I'm telling you this and sharing this with you, it may be resonating with you, but it's not going to resonate fully unless you sit with this and contemplate this and realize this and feel this in the marrow of your bones. Feel that the creator is everything and has created everything, sustains everything. The creator is always creating. And when we wake up to our connection, our part of the creator, we begin co-creating. As Father Mike has always said, we begin co-creating. We begin being the hands, the feet, the mouth of the divine, of the creator. Okay, so this next passage is very, very Zen. Don't let it scare you. I'll try to translate it. He says, I discovered that it is necessary, absolutely necessary, to believe in nothing, no thing. That is, we have to believe in something which has no form and no color, something which exists before all forms and color appear. No matter what God or doctrine you believe in, if you become attached to it, your belief will be based more or less on a self-centered idea. So what he's saying here is that, as we've talked about, and how many times have you heard me say, God, the creator, Adonai, Hashem, whatever you want to label that which can't be anyone labeled. That's exactly what he's saying here, is that once you realize that the creator is not one thing that you can put in a box, that you can grab a hold of, it is everything, but yet no thing. That's the Buddhist version of what they call emptiness or awakening, is seeing the interconnectedness of all things, and that it takes many things to make and sustain and create and keep something going. And those many things are the creator. I once did one of the very first teachings I ever did back in 2004 was called Emptiness, a Box of Cereal, and You. And I'll share that. I'll share that maybe in a book nook or something coming up. I'll share that story with all of you, but it explains in detail the whole premise of emptiness. So, again, we want to believe in the creator, right? Okay, but when we believe in something that doesn't have form, that doesn't have color, and it exists before forms and colors, no matter what our religion, no matter what our faith, once we become attached to it, that belief becomes based more or less on you, on your conditioning. That's why people say, my God, my Jesus, my this, my that, my Allah, my Hashem. And And it goes on. My Mother Earth, my Father Sky, my universe. There's no my to it, you know? There's no my to it. It's us. It's we. It's everything. You can't strap it down to what you want, because the first time you do that, you've now changed it and polluted it into what your views are as a human, not as what your views are from one who has realized their connection with the creator. It's one who has attached labels and restrictions and chains literally to what the belief in the creator is. And we can't do that. Again, you can compare the creator to the fog. You can't grasp it. You can't contain it, that it's constantly moving, constantly flowing. But when you hug the one you love, what are you doing? You're not only hugging them, you're hugging the creator. When you're kissing that furry little foofaloo pup, what are you doing? You're kissing the creator. When you pick up that rock and you admire the beauty of this rock that has been taken literally thousands upon thousands of years to form and to be in the shape and condition that it's in, that's the creator. A baby crying, that's the creator. A baby laughing, that's the creator. Song of the birds singing, that's the creator. Hummingbirds coming up and hitting your feeder and getting their nectar, that's the creator. The sound of the wind through the trees, that's the creator. Everything. You know, the guy that just cut you off in traffic, the creator. The dog next door won't stop barking, that's the creator. It goes all ways, folks. But again, if you're seeing it from a different perspective, if you're seeing it from an open beginner's mind perspective, everything changes, literally everything. And my apologies, folks, if I seem to be a little long-winded on these translations of my polluted mind to you. And that's only because I want to make sure that I try to hit everybody at the level that they're at of understanding. And because these passages are meant to be sat with, literally. You are to take these and sit with them every day during your meditation and contemplation. After you maybe study your Bible or your Quran or your Torah or whatever, or your Zohar, again, whatever book of shadows that you're studying, these are meant to either be done before or after that study. And just to sit with these, I recommend afterwards, to just sit with these and what you've learned and let it cook. Let it sit and simmer and ferment and resonate with you. And this next passage is a perfect example of that. Nothing we see or hear is perfect, but right there in imperfection is perfect reality. I'll say it one more time. Nothing we see or hear is perfect, but right there in the imperfection is perfect reality. Again, what have we talked about? The mind only perceives less than 5% of any given 100%, 4 gigabytes of data that our mind receives every second. So we know that everything that we see and hear is not perfect. It's very imperfect, that we're getting less than 5% of what is really going on at any given second. But right there in that imperfection, we see perfect reality. We can see, because it's the creator, regardless of if we're just getting this less than 5%. If you can make that switch to knowing and feeling that the creator is everything and everything is the creator, and the creator is constantly creating. Again, like I said, your next heartbeat, your next breath, the blink of your eyes, your blood circulating, the electricity impulsing through your body to function your heart, to make it beat, so everything stays in sync and you stay alive in this form. That's all creator, every single bit of it. Next one says, enjoy your problems. And we've talked about that. here in the show. Again, if everything is from the creator, your problems are from the creator as well. And why are there problems? Why does the creator give you problems? Because the creator is trying to help you. Anyone? Long-time listeners? Change. The creator is trying to help you change so you can get more light. You can receive more light. Because remember, the creator is always, anyone? Giving, always bestowing. And we as humans are receivers. We are, receiving all the time. But the closer we become with the creator, the more we change. There's a shift that, the current changes to where we're not just receiving, we're also bestowing. We become more like the creator, which is the goal, the ultimate end goal of all of our souls, is to do that here in this lifetime. So, these problems that we receive are presented to us are actually blessings that, someone would say, well, I've got cancer. What's the blessing in that? There are a lot of different blessings in that. And one would have to analyze exactly what is going on in your life and with your cancer, since there are so many different types and degrees of cancer. What lessons are in there for you to bring about change? I could go on and on about my heart, but I believe I've done that probably way, way too much. But if anybody wants me to use my example in a book, Nook, or future show with regard to this, as far as problems and coming from the creator, I would be more than happy to expand on that. So again, the problems. If you come to me and you say, you know what, Angel Man, I am so thirsty. I haven't drank anything in like 3 days. I've been in the desert. I'm hot. I'm tired. I need some water. And I hand you this glass full of muddy, murky, mossy water with bugs in it. Would you drink it? Would you accept that? No. Would that help you? Absolutely not. Even if you drank it, you were so desperate that you drank it, it wouldn't provide you with what you needed. As a matter of fact, it would harm you. It would cause you to become seriously ill and possibly die. That's what we are. We are that glass, that container, that vessel that is full of garbage. And the more and more we begin to see and associate that the creator is everything, then that changes. We begin to, the pool guy comes and begins to clean out, or we say the pool angels. The pool angels come and begin to skim and filter and clean and dump out all of the garbage that's inside of us. Each of us is a vessel. A vessel for what? A vessel for the light from the creator. And you can't, no matter how much purified water you put into a glass of murky, nasty water, it's not going to change it. It's still going to be contaminated. And the glass can only hold so much. So if it's already full and you're pouring more water on top of it, where's it going? It's overflowing. It's not being received, correct? And that's what this is all about, is when you wake up to this, you start changing, you start cleansing, you start, in Eastern terms, they say purify. You start doing that. You're starting to, again, the pool angels come in. Feel free to use that. The pool angels come in and they begin working, and you begin working on cleaning you inside out. You become more in tune with your soul and your spirit, which already is clean and already knows these things. And you begin living from that. So, as he says, enjoy your problems, because that is what gets us to the point of being close to the divine, close to the creator, receiving that light, working on the things that we have nasty inside us that need to be cleaned up. And when you do that, everything, and I've talked about this before to some extent, everything changes in your life. Those around you, your environment, your world changes. Okay, next he says, what we call I is just a swinging door which moves when we inhale and when we exhale. And that is, again, definitely something to sit with in meditation, is when we sit, the whole I, me, and mine, Satan, the darkness, whatever you want to label that, is constantly flooding your mind with all kinds of thoughts. And, well, you shouldn't be sitting. Why are you sitting? You've got this to do, and you've got these appointments, and I got to go to this. I got grocery shopping. What am I going to get? What's on sale? Did I get the coupons? What about the car? Is there gas in the car? Does it need an oil change? All these things flood your mind, literally. Those of you who sat in meditation before know this. All of these things just completely swarm you like you're covered in honey and the bees haven't tasted anything in forever. You are literally just swarmed. But if you look at it this way, that the I is like a swinging door. It moves when you inhale. You don't grasp, you don't hold on to it. And it moves when you exhale. You let it go in one place, out the other. And as he said, the most important thing here he added is that you don't serve it tea, which means don't keep it around. Don't hang on to it. Don't attach to it. But how many of us have sleepless nights of worrying and contemplating and dwelling on just a simple thought of something that happened during your day or something that's coming up, and that we worry and we fret and we sweat, and what happens? We lose sleep. And what does that do? That harms us. That causes physical and mental harm. So it's important for us to let go of that. And when you let go, you are what, folks? You are connecting with the Creator, saying, you know what? I know you've got this. And that doesn't mean that you just let off, the gas and you let God do the driving. You still take responsibility and you do what you need to do, but you say and you know and you feel that ultimately, regardless of whatever happens, you are going to be fine. The Creator has you now and always will. The next one, he says, life is like stepping onto a boat, which is about to sail out to sea and sink. I would reword this, for those of you who aren't awakened, quote, unquote, air quote, for those of you who aren't connected and have that relationship with the divine, the Creator yet, yes, look at this as life is like stepping onto a boat, which is about to sail out to sea and sink. You have limited time. As soon as the boat starts to set sail, the clock is ticking, okay? But what I like to refer to this analogy is that once you wake up or you begin to become aware of the Creator, you begin working on, cleansing your vessel and receiving light and seeing things for everything that it is, which is the Creator, things transform. Your life transforms. Your boat transforms into a hovercraft, and then it transforms into a spaceship that when you do physically expire and pass from this life, you're like a rocket. You'll go straight to the heavens, straight to the Creator, and all will be well. All is well no matter what. All is well no matter what. The next one, very deep. We do not exist for the sake of something else. We exist for the sake of ourselves. I'm going to say that one more time. We do not exist for the sake of something else. We exist for the sake of ourselves. Now, that might sound to many of us, Sam, what was that? Sound very I, me, and mine, right? Very ego, right? No. See beyond that. Feel beyond that. We cannot help anyone until we help ourselves. Again, remember the analogy I gave with you coming up to me saying you've been out in the desert for 3 days and you haven't had anything to drink, you need some water. I hand you that nasty glass that's completely full of just the nastiest stuff you could think of. How is that helping? It's not. If anything, as we said, if you did by chance drink it, it would be detrimental. It would cause you suffering, cause you pain, would also cause you probably death. This very same thing applies to us. We want to help everybody. We want to jump on that train and have our hands out and trying to help as many people as we can. The thing is, a lot of us ain't even on the train. We're just running along the tracks with our hands out, or walking along the tracks or stumbling along the tracks or looking for the tracks with our hands out trying to help people when we ourselves are in no shape to help. We can't be the bestowers until we receive the light. We can't receive the light until we do the spiritual work to get ourselves in the shape to receive the light. I pray that makes some sense. And the next one really goes right with that. The best way is to understand yourself, and then you will understand everything. Amen to that. I'll read it one more time. The best way is to understand yourself, and then you will understand everything. And it continues. So when you try hard to make your own way, you will help others. And when you will be helped by others, and you will be helped by others. Before you can make your own way, you cannot help anyone, and no one can help you. That goes right back to what we were just saying. So I won't expand on that anymore. When something dies is the greatest teaching. That's the next one. When something dies is the greatest teaching. And it is, because it should be a smack in the face that everything is impermanent. Everything is only going to happen in this lifetime a number of times, and that, again, the clock is ticking. And I'm not saying that to scare anyone, to get anybody freaking out. What I'm saying is to help you realize that now is the time. Now is the only time. Now is all we have or ever will have. The past is the past. The future is yet to come. All we have is now. So make the most of every now. How much time do we spend on binging shows on TV? We all have routines. I have this show I've got to watch, on this day at this time every week, or my life just ain't right. There's nothing wrong with that. But I have to say also, flip the coin. How much time are you working on your spiritual practice, on your spiritual life, on your connection with the creators and in prayer with the creator? How often are you doing that? Do you have a routine? Do you have, hey, I've got to be, praying or studying or contemplating or just sitting or laying down and focusing on the creator at this time every week, or my life isn't any good? Now that is that is great. That is what you should be. Again, it's not saying that to give up the other, but it's saying to give equal time. We spend more of our humanist time on human things, on relative things, and not on spiritual things, which are the ultimate. How long are we going to be in this human form? If we're lucky, 80 years, maybe a little longer. Those who are beyond blessed live longer than that. But how long are you going to be in spirit? A soul. Forever. Literally forever. So why don't we make the shift and focus more on spirit and soul and the importance of that, and make a balance? That's what it's all about. A balance of being human and being soul or spirit. Okay, here's the next one. When you do something, you should do it with your whole body and mind. You should be concentrated on what you do. You should do it completely, like a good bonfire. You should not be a smoky fire. You should burn yourself completely. If you do not burn yourself completely, a trace of yourself will be left in what you do. And there's so many levels to this. It really gets into, number one is focus. That when you give something your attention, give it your 100% undivided attention. When you're talking with your spouse, with your friend, with your love, with your children, with your boss, whatever, when you're doing something, give it your 100% attention. Don't falter. And when you are done, you make sure it's completely done. That's it. You do not attach. You do not grasp. Like, oh man, did I don't know. You don't second guess. I don't know if I did that enough at work, or, oh man, did I say something wrong to so-and-so or such and such? And then you dwell on it. And then what happens? Again, we lose sleep. We're up all night worrying about it. And that changes nothing other than our own physicality, our mental status and stability, as well as our physical health. That it harms us. It's actually poison to do that. But I know, easier said than done, but these are things we can work on. So when you do something and you do it with 100% focus, 100% attention, you can guarantee that when you are done and it is completed, it's done. It's completed. You did everything you could do. There's no second guessing. There's no, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. It's done. Next one is very short, but very tricky. He says, to live is enough. To live is enough. Now, everybody would be saying, you know what? I'm living right now. But are you, quote, end quote, air quote, living? What he's referring to is when you are aware and awake to the Creator is everything. You are created by the Creator, so is everybody else. The Creator is in control. The Creator has you. You are utterly 1,000,000% safe. The Creator's got you. But again, that doesn't mean you can just throw your hands up and jump off a cliff and say, the Creator's got me. Remember, Satan tried that with Jesus, Don't do that. You still have to be responsible and in charge of your life, but you operate from a different place. You are operating on a different frequency altogether. You're operating on that heavenly frequency, that God frequency, that Adonai frequency, that Hashem frequency, that universal frequency, whatever you want to label that, the Hecate frequency, the nature frequency. You are operating on that frequency. And if you can live in that frequency, which you can, that is enough. Next, he says, in meditation, leave your front door and your back door open. Let thoughts come and go. Just don't serve them tea. That's kind of what I was saying on that other one about, keeping the front door and the back door open, is that, you're going to be bombarded. Even when you're sitting down to study or just read. If you say, well, I don't study, I just read the Bible or the Quran or the Torah or the Zohan or whatever, the Book of Shadows. If you're sitting down to read, believe me, your mind is going to be bombarded. And the darkness, Satan, again, whatever you want to label that, is going to interrupt. What are you doing sitting here? What are you doing looking at this? You've got other things that need to be done. Oh, wait, you haven't checked your Facebook status in a while. You need to get on Instagram and check that out. What about this? What about LinkedIn? You need to be looking for another job because you're going to be losing your job soon. Remember, we've been worrying about this, about job security. And oh my gosh, maybe you should start looking for another home or apartment or something because, something's going to happen. There's going to be a tornado or lightning or fire. And see, this is what happens. Is these things go, and then you start going, you give attention to that. When you give attention to Satan, when you give attention to the darkness, what happens? You're inviting it to tea. Here, sit down, have a meal with me. Let's talk about this. You spend nights fretting and anxiety and worry over these things. Instead of going, you know what? I've done everything I can possibly do. And I will continue to do everything I can. I'm not giving up by any means. I just know that the Creator is in charge and that I trust, believe, and have faith in the Creator. And no matter what the outcome, no matter what, if I fail, if I die, the Creator has me and I will be fine. It's all meant to be from the Creator. And we're going to have shows on that coming up here in season 6. Yeah, season 6. We've only got one more episode for this season and we'll be in season 6. But we'll talk about that in detail, about how you map out your life with the Creator before you take birth in this life, and how that map can be changed and is changed many, 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 many infinite times during a lifetime. Okay, folks, so here's the last one. Emotionally, we have many problems, but these problems are not actual problems. They are something created. They are problems pointed out by our self-centered ideas or views. going to read it one more time. Emotionally, we have many problems, but these problems are not actual problems. They are something created. They are problems pointed out by our self-centered ideas or views. Now, I can hear everybody grumbling with that, saying, oh, you can't tell me that my problems aren't actual problems. And I didn't create cancer. I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask for heart failure. I didn't ask to be on my deathbed. What he's saying that these problems are being seen and experienced from anyone? From the I, me, and my view, from the human view alone. These things are not being seen as, I have heart failure. This is from the creator. Now, my challenge is to pause, contemplate. How did this happen? Why did this happen? My lifestyle, eating habits, environment. Okay. What do I need to change? I need to realize that I was asleep most of my life, that I wasn't aware that the creator is everything. I need to wake up to that. I need to begin waking up to that. I need to work on that. I need to work on my spiritual more. I need to work on my soul more, help my soul achieve its missions in this lifetime. And I can't do that. It can't do that if I don't give it the opportunity and the time. See, that's what this is about. This is what he's pointing at, is that, the majority of us just live our lives in the I, me, and my world, as just being human and being wrangled like sheep by whatever we want to call the shepherd. You can call it your government, your community, your media, your influences, your phone, your computer, whatever you put into your mind and in your heart and in your body. That's what you are. That's what you become. That's what influences you. So the more spiritual practice you can do, the more spiritual study you can do. And I'm not saying run off and join a monastery. No. I'm just saying slowly work it into your life a little bit. And I know a lot of people say, well, I don't have time. I'm too busy. But you can sit on your phone and look at TikTok videos and Instagram and Facebook and just surf the web for hours before you realize, oh my gosh, I've been looking at this stuff for 3 hours now. That's 3 hours of this life that is gone that you will not get back. And I'm not saying that again. I'm not saying it to scare anybody. I'm just saying this to give that lightning bolt to you, to wake you up, that each and every moment is so very precious. It's a moment that you have now that you will never have again. It's a moment that you are experiencing that will never be experienced again. And if we start to see life as that, if we start to live life from that, everything, literally everything changes. Okay, folks, I'll shut up for now and we'll do our prayers, updates, and our closing prayer and blessings. And now our prayer request and updates. Please keep Denise in your heart, thoughts, and prayers. I was able to communicate with her a little bit this week. She's doing good in some aspects, but then not so good in other aspects. So let us please keep her in our heart, thoughts, and prayers. Also, please continue to pray for Terry. I do have a Nicholas update. His mom was able to find a university that is willing to do tests on him to see if it's possible for them to do yet another heart transplant. Now, he's already had 2, and the heart that he has now is failing. So he is on limited time. So he goes tomorrow, Monday, for those tests. And as soon as I receive any updates, I'll be sure to pass them on to you. So please keep Nicholas and his family in your heart, thoughts, and prayers. Well, as you all know by now, that Haley Odds-Lazel, that we've spoken about for so long in our prayers for Haley, who was diagnosed 8 years ago with stage 3C ovarian cancer. She has passed, and Let us please keep her husband, Taylor, and her 4-year-old son, Weston, in our heart, thoughts, and prayers. And although they knew this day was going to come, as those of you who know who've lost loved ones, there's nothing that can ever prepare you for the big, giant, gaping hole that is left when someone that you love leaves this physical realm. But it's very important for us to remember that although they're not here physically, they are certainly with you spiritually. And more so, they are stronger because their spirit is free from the confines of this body, which is a vehicle. We talk about that quite a bit in our shows, and we will continue about, comparing our body to that of a car, of a vehicle. How many times have you been on a long road trip and you just can't wait to get out of the car? When you get out of the car, you stretch and breathe in the clean air and you feel absolutely free. That's exactly how you feel when your spirit leaves this body. Next, let us continue to pray for Maudie, Stephanie, Sarah, and Kia, Elaine, Bob, Clyde, Lisa, Bill, Joanne, Lana, Megan, Molly, and Gwen, Octavia, Trish, Chad, and their family, Bishop Ashley and his family, Brother Abel, Mike S., Kelly and their family, Michael W., Tanya. I do have an update on Tanya. She is in need of prayers. She just found that her cholesterol is high as well as her blood pressure. She has to go get some more testing done to determine what that level is and how to treat it. So let us please keep her in your heart, thoughts, and prayers. Also, please continue to pray for Cheryl, Elijah, his grandmother Janet, husband Andrew, father Mike, his husband Eddie, Eddie's mother Becky, Emma, Jean, Kathy, Tony, and their family, Michael T., Kyra, Courtney Moore, Jan, James, and Linda. And if you are in need of prayers, please, please, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. My contact information is at the end of the show, at the end of every show. I love to pray, and those who listen to the show, which is you, love to pray as well. So let us pray for you. And now our closing prayer and blessing. And today's prayer is going to be from a great Tibetan teacher by the name of Gampopa, Gampopa, who composed this prayer in the 12th century. And I believe you will all agree with me that it pertains to today as much as it pertained to those in the 12th century, if not more. So let us pray. Great Creator, give me energy for my heart to turn to the spiritual. Give me energy for the spiritual to become a way. Give me energy for this way to dispel confusion. Give me energy for confusion to arise as wisdom. Amen. I so hope and pray you all have enjoyed the show and that you found everything that you're searching for in a podcast here and more. Please stop by anytime, all the time. You are family. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe, rate, and review on whatever format that you're listening, because this will greatly help move the show up so when people do a general search, they're more likely to find us. And the more people we reach, the more people we can help. Also, feel free, please, please, please feel free to share the show with anyone and everyone that you feel might be interested in it and it might benefit. And if you really, really enjoy the show, please consider making an offering. Offerings are a great way to help sustain and improve the show and the Faith and More ministry. Offerings can be made through patreon.com/Faith and More podcast. We actually have 3 tiers of membership there. So again, at patreon.com/Faith and More podcast. And don't forget about our YouTube channel. There's lots of great videos there, and it gives you more of an immersive experience. Just go to youtube.com/@Faith and More podcast. Next is prayers. I love to pray, and our Faith and More family, that is you, love to pray as well. So let us pray for you. There are two ways to do this. The first is to email me directly at faithandmorepodcast@gmail.com. The second is through our website at faithandmorepodcast.wixsite.com/my-site. There's a form at the bottom of the website to request prayers. And of course, links to everything here mentioned in the show and in the closing here can be found in the show description. Intro and outro music are courtesy of Lay FM, LESFM, which is at lesfm.net. And the Oblates infomercial is courtesy of iView Music. Links can be found in the show description. Check them out and show them some love. So until next time, have a blessed week and know that each and every one of you are in